Felicia, I must have plasma. Jesus. If you were to tell me back in 1999 that one day I'd be working on a YouTube video featuring Morbius, more than likely I would have called you a liar, then proceed to ask as to why you're in my house, asking such an uncanny question. I digress. What's up, beautiful people? It is I, your charismatic Bostonian, your steward of Gundor, your genius billionaire playboy, basic YouTuber philanthropist, Supercliff. Thank you everyone. Please, you guys are the real heroes. And if you like what you see, /here, hit that like and subscribe button, for every little bit helps in this YouTube world. And today, we'll be covering Morbius, the living vampire. God damn it. Full disclosure, I love making fun of Morbius simply because without reading comics, the only way, at least in my mind, where someone would have any inkling of who or what Morbius is would be thanks to the 90s Spider-Man cartoon show. Shout out to Fox Kids. But yeah, I've never given a shit about this character in my entire life. But you know who does? Sony, because they own Spider-Man properties. And who doesn't love bags of money? So yeah, we will be covering motherfucking Morbius. But hey, I will try my damnness to be extremely positive, because 2020 has been a behemoth of a year, and it's the Halloween season. So let's get some scares, let's achieve some laughs, and heck, maybe let's cry a bit too. I'm insane. Michael Morbius was created by Roy Thomas and Gil Kane, and made his debut in The Amazing Spider-Man issues 101 and 102. Fun fact, at the time of Morbius' debut, this all took place following the Comics Code Authority had just recently updated their censorship, which oversaw the ban on vampires and other supernatural characters to being lifted. Basically, think of your typical Universal Studio Monsters gallery. But now, those PG-13 concepts Marvel can now use. Also, another fun fact, this was the first time a main Spider-Man book wasn't written by the glorious Stan Lee. Which makes sense, because I think Morbius sucks. No pun intended. Now, it's in these two issues where we learn of Morbius' backstory. Check it. Dr. Michael Morbius was born in Greece, and throughout his life, he suffered from a dilapidated blood disease, resulting in Michael undergoing an isolated childhood, which also contributed to his ugliness / vampiric look. So yeah, let's have a fucking weirdo like Jared Leto play him. I digress. Once more, as he got older, Morbius became a scientist, and eventually, due to his highly respected work, Dr. Michael Morbius would end up becoming a well-acclaimed Nobel Prize-winning biochemist, whom was known to specialize in the field of human and animal biology. Now, in regards to Michael's blood disease, time was sadly growing short for Michael, as the doctor's blood cells were dissolving at an alarming rate. Therefore, he began to develop an experimental treatment alongside his best friend, Emil Nikos, where the two hoped to discover a cure for Michael's disease, as well as a chance in saving his life. Now wait, what was Morbius' ace in the hole? That's right, folks. Bats. The award-winning doctor believed that vampire bats held a cure for his disease in the form of electric shock therapy. After Michael underwent the experiment, though it technically cured him from dying, it transformed Michael into a blood-sucking living vampire, making best friend Emil Nikos his first victim. After realizing on what he has done, Morbius begins to immediately feel regret, thereby attempts to commit suicide by jumping into the ocean with the hopes of drowning. But fortunately / unfortunately, depending on how you view the situation, Morbius' will to live overpowers him, thereby resurfacing before drowning and meeting his demise. Morbius later escapes his homeland, hitching a ride on an American cargo ship, which is en route to New York City, a perfect feeding ground for one such as Morbius to feast upon man-flesh. After slaughtering the cargo ship's crew, due to his bloodlust, Morbius ends up washing ashore near Beach House, where he encounters Spider-Man, who at the time was attempting to reverse the effects of an experiment that gave Peter 6 arms. Yep, you've all seen this image at some point in your life, and indeed, 'twas an awkward moment for Spidey's career. And boom, that's how Spidey and Morbius came into conflict. Simply the wrong place at the wrong time. The two characters end up battling, with Dr. Kurt Connors, aka the Lizard, joining the fray, ending with the Lizard being able to produce a cure for Spider-Man's situation by using Morbius' blood. Spider-Man and Morbius would eventually face each other once more in Marvel Team-Up issues 3 and 4. This time, Spidey gets help from the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Now, this is where Morbius' antagonistic career becomes a bit less villainous. Check it. Over in Marvel's sister company, Curtis Magazine, they began pumping out a series called Vampire Tales, a duology series which was very horror / cult themed, and starred Morbius in a rather anti-hero role. For Morbius travels to the city of Los Angeles, and there the living vampire, Morbius, rescues Amanda Saint from the demon fire cult, and aided her in her quest to find Amanda's missing parents. However, Morbius' need to drink blood did come into play, resulting in a few civilian casualties. Afterwards, Morbius would continue to have a plentiful amount of stories, such as confronting and battling Blade, since Blade hates vampires, times 3000. Shout out to Mahershala Ali as Blade, can't wait for that movie, as well as teaming up with the monster characters, such as Man-Thing, Marvel Swamp Thing, and Jack Russell's The Werewolf by Night, who, fun fact, will be featured in the upcoming Moon Knight Disney Plus series. In addition, a new iteration of The Werewolf by Night will get his own 4-issue miniseries starting this October, because spooky time. Ooh. Anyways, back to Morbius. In the early 90s, Morbius eventually gained a small following of readers, I don't know how nor why, but I digress, and was given his own solo series, which would eventually lead to the formation of a supernatural team known as the Midnight Suns, a team that was formed by Ghost Rider's Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze, after Ghost Rider received a vision that a vampire villain by the name of Lilith, the mother of all demons, was being resurrected to take over the world. Therefore, in an attempt to help combat the evil vampire, the two Ghost Riders tracked down Morbius, whom at the time was still having trouble with controlling his bloodlust needs. Johnny Blaze catches Morbius and convinces the living vampire to team up. Ghost Rider also suggests to Morbius that instead of feeding upon the innocent, he should instead channel his need for blood against the bad guys. And bada bing, bada boom, Morbius achieves anti-hero status. Following the Midnight Suns formation, Morbius would continue to pop throughout the supernatural sections within the Marvel Universe, while still being somewhat at odds with the web-swinging Spider-Man. And in 2013, Morbius would once more get another ongoing series during the Marvel Now initiative, and again in 2019, which, real talk, does have some amazing art. Now, in regards to Morbius' powers, we have to remember that Morbius is not technically a vampire. The term used to commonly describe him is a pseudo-vampire, a being who possesses a number of superhuman abilities similar to those possessed by true vampires, aka mystical vampires. That includes the obvious superhuman strength, speed, reflexes, acute senses, even within areas of complete total darkness. The trailer does a great job in showcasing how that works, with echolocation, regenerative healing factor, fangs, claws, the ability to turn victims into vampires. Just like supernatural vampires, Morbius possesses mental control over the vampires that he creates. Now, here's the real difference between Morbius and other vampire characters. Since Morbius is basically a science experiment gone wrong, he is thereby unaffected by religious icons such as crucifixes, objects or weapons composed of silver, the concept of wooden stakes being driven through his heart, and he will incinerate if exposed to direct sunlight. Also, Morbius can psionic glide. Yeah, basically he can fly, because Morbius is so cool. Oh, and ever since Morbius and the Midnight Suns defeated the vampire Lilith, Morbius gained the ability to hypnotize others like in typical vampire lore. Morbius has appeared in various media, most notably in the Spider-Man TV show from the 90s, and due to censorship, instead of sucking blood, Morbius had the ability to suck plasma, and he had like these weird suction cups on his hands. It was actually pretty creepy. Lastly, you probably are already aware that Jared Leto will portray the living vampire in Sony's upcoming Morbius movie, which would have come out already, but because of COVID, it's been pushed back into 2021. Now, obviously, one of the big moments to take away from that trailer is when Morbius is walking through an alleyway. In the background, you can see a Spider-Man 2 poster, which the words "Wanted" graffitied across it, as well as Michael Keaton popping up near the end. And though it's not been confirmed that this is Keaton's Vulture character, I think it's safe to assume that this is 100% Keaton's Vulture, or it's just an insane coincidence. Also, at the time when the trailer came out, I would have bet money that Sony would have treated their movies similar in the way the Marvel Netflix shows operated, always mentioning certain characters from the MCU movies, whereas the MCU movies never gave two fucks about mentioning of what's happening in Hell's Kitchen. But with the recent news regarding Jamie Foxx reprising his role as a new take on the character of Electro, as well as recent reports saying that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man will appear allegedly in the upcoming Spider-Man Home Something 3. Because of that, I feel like now we're entering a brand new playing field where Morbius can actually appear in future MCU movies, possibly cameoing in the upcoming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness movie. And to be nice, I will say this. The Morbius movie does look better than the Venom trailer, but that can all change in the second trailer, because Sony sucks and they can't contain themselves from spoiling everything. And so there you have it, folks, the basics of what you need to know about Morbius, the living vampire. So tell me, peeps, are you guys excited for the Morbius movie? Has anyone read the recent Morbius comic book series? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. And if you like what you see /here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I have links written in the video description below. And until next time, peace. Giggity giggity goo. Alright.